phones, license plates, things of that nature. We'll obviously give a grace period on the enforcement of those type things. From just a citizen standpoint, he did mention churches. Over 250 are prohibited. And then something else probably employers need to be thinking about is the schools are closed, daycares are closed. Mom and daddies, somebody's going to have to keep the kids, and so it's certainly going to have an impact on businesses, and employers need to be thinking about how they're going to address that and how they're going to staff those positions. So that's kind of from our standpoint, and from the schools, I know that's a big issue. And Superintendent Downey.
We're meeting Monday morning at 8:30 with our directors, supervisors, and principals, trying to make sure we address all the needs that we're going to have over the next month for the communities we serve and the children. And we're going to try to provide as much of the continuing services as we can, especially our Title I schools, with some type of a backpack program. We're in the infancy stages of trying to address all of this, so in the next couple days hopefully we can get a list of all the things that we're going to have to address and be able to come up with a plan to be able to provide as much as we possibly can. But y'all are hearing about it about the same time we are, and we're just kind of in the planning mode now. And even though the governor making that decision provides consistency for us as a state, it also creates several hundred other questions about how we're going to manage this. So that's where we're at, and Sonia will be putting out more and more information as we get these questions resolved.
One thing you'd be looking at, maybe rescheduling prom. Would that be one thing you're looking at?
Well, I think we're looking at this impacting everything from day-to-day instruction to athletic events.
Right.
I think that you're about to see all of this be impacted by this governor's order. I would expect that the LHSA will follow suit in another day or two, and I think this is going to be the new normal for the next month or so. We just have to figure out how to navigate it.
And you got to figure out how to make up those school days that you lost.
Well, I think that the governor has the ability to waive that requirement in terms of the total number of minutes. I would expect that he would take advantage of that. Obviously, that's one of the first questions. Do we have to make it up? From the information that I currently have, that's not going to be the requirement.
Mayor and Chief, I know it affects EMS services and cleaning the ambulances and different protocols and procedures y'all are having to do.
Yeah, the one thing we're doing, we kind of prepared in Bossier City a little along the lines when Ebola was a few years ago, and we have some equipment that luckily our mayor and council supported us. We have the aeroclave system, so every station, every truck, every ambulance has this decontamination system. So after we transport a patient, we can, if we suspect flu-like symptoms or anything of this nature, we will turn this system on. It'll decontaminate one of the paramedics in, give them a report, doing the report, so we come back to a sterile ambulance and we don't cross-transport or cross-contaminate the next patient we run on. And we also, we screen patients over the phone through dispatch. We have protocols for the dispatcher, questions to ask. They notify our people for PPE. Our people will use the N95 mask. We'll ask a family member to put a mask on the patient and get the patient to us, and less exposure, less contact. We've been actually looking at this since December and started teaching it in EMT refresher in January in preparation for the, just in case it happened, because Ebola is not far from my mind when we went through that. So we have actually, I feel way better about this situation as far as our EMS system than I did at that point during the Ebola deal. So if y'all have any questions on it?
I would just say what we keep hearing over and over and over is call ahead. Call your doctor, call the ER, tell them, you know, how you're feeling, what you think you might have, and we're trying to avoid just people showing up and strolling in that might actually have this. So call ahead. right now, government buildings are not in the declaration in the proclamation. So each jurisdiction certainly could take more stringent actions, but right now, the Bossier Parish Courthouse example, for example, will be open Monday.
So everything is still remain open as stated.
Yes, sir.
Mayor Walker, what message would you like to get to the citizens today after hearing this news of what the governor has announced and of course President Trump?
Well, I think we're much better prepared than a lot of communities with some of the proactive things we've done. I believe that what I keep hearing over and over is that we all at this together, we need to do those proactive things about washing your hands with soap, the distance between people, the knock off the hugging and handshaking, and when you're sick, stay at home if you possibly can. The symptoms of flu and this virus are similar, and so we don't want to overload our emergency facilities, and but all of our citizens should be very proactive in those things that have been recommended to keep spreading it.
And I would just ask that people be patient with us, the school system. Obviously, this is something that we just got hit with today, and so we're trying to respond. We want to do the best we can in planning and being able to get that information out there. But we need to get together as a group of leaders within the system to make sure we address every need, and it's going to take us a couple days. This is a challenge for us, and we're going to do the best we can, but it's going to require a little bit of patience on everybody's part, just like they're having to adjust to the daycare issues and the logistics of kids being at home for a month. So we're going to work as diligently as we can to get those questions answered.
Will any testing be affected with this?
Well, we have the ACT that's scheduled for next Tuesday. Obviously, that's been impacted. LEAP test, iLEAP, all that is going to, those windows were about to open. All of that is going to have to be addressed by the Department of Ed. The U.S. Department of Education put out something earlier today that accountability would be suspended for this spring. So I would expect that the LDOE would follow suit. And all of that is within the governor's power. We can use last year's scores. There's going to be questions about kids being promoted from one grade to the next. All of those things will be addressed. Obviously, when you have a situation that is this extreme, I would hope and I would expect that the Department of Ed and the governor's office would grant each system as much latitude as possible to be able to handle this and address it appropriately.
Has the matter of casinos been discussed?
That more than likely will fall under the state police. They govern those, and so that's a great question. I don't know the answer, but I suspect state police will be dealing with that.
Okay.
Good question.
Anything else that you would like to add?
Stay tuned.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.